Ladies, how are you doing? Welcome to my channel. Hope you are great. Disclaimer: this video reflects my personal opinions and commentary. It is not intended to harass, harm, or defame any individual. Content is for discussions and education purposes. So I am seeing video of this Latino woman who is calling her community out, and she's saying that one thing she doesn't like is seeing a racist Latino. And then she's asking them, how long are they supposed to play this game of not liking black people or acting like they are above black people? And then I keep asking myself, what do they actually mean by, acting like they are above black people? What actually make people above another person? Because at this point in time, all these things are just really crazy. Really, make this make sense. So you guys think that you are better off, or you are you are, I don't know in what aspect exactly, but then I will leave that aside. So she is telling them that how long do they want to continue to tap dance for their oppressor and then maltreat black people? But then one thing I know for sure is that black people don't care, because at this point in time, if you guys are not ready and willing to learn by yourselves, and then you guys will continue to make the same mistake you've made you've made mistake how many times? It's like your everyday kind of life. People cannot teach you on how to navigate things. You will rather listen to the person telling you the wrong thing than the person telling you the right thing. Because if you guys had listened to black people while they were telling you guys on the importance of voting right, trust me, if you guys never listen, then it's not that you guys will listen. That's your problem, not mine. Let's get into it.
During the Jim Crow era, Latinos picked cotton alongside black people, we were segregated alongside black people, and we were even alongside black people. Now, the reason they don't teach us this in school is because if more of us knew this, then more of us would realize that the Latino experience in America parallels the black experience in America. And that parallel is still present today. For example, if you were driving around while Latino or black, the likelihood of you getting pulled over by the police or ICE is exponentially higher than if you were any other race. Now, what is the express purpose of them pulling you over? Most likely, they want to throw you in prison or put you in an ICE detention center. Now, why do they want to do that? Well, once you're in an ICE detention center, they can legally make you work for $1 a day. And when you're in prison, they can make you work for 50 cents an hour. And when you consider the fact that black Americans make up 50 to 60% of all exonerations in America, meaning they were wrongfully convicted, and Trump ran on the idea of locking up all the drug-dealing, violent criminal immigrants, only to turn around and only lock up the people going to and from work and going to courthouses to try to immigrate the legal way, it just becomes very clear that they are just rounding us up to make us work for next to nothing. Now, the people behind me, rest in peace, are more examples of why our communities are more similar than the government would like you to believe. These were all people who were murdered, and the justice system basically said that their murderers are going to get away with it with almost zero consequences. And that's why I am so pro-black and brown unity, because imagine what we could accomplish if more of us realized that we share a common enemy. And I say more because I already believe that a lot of us do realize that we share a common enemy.
There's nothing I hate more than a fucking racist Latino. I fucking hate that shit. How the fuck you gonna hate black people when the majority of us across Latin America are descendants of enslaved black people and fucking indigenous communities that were slaughtered? Like, that shit pisses me off. You guys want to be white so motherfucking bad. Got the audacity to praise your fucking culture, be proud of your culture, fucking wear that shit like a fucking badge, but refuse to acknowledge that you wouldn't have a good portion of your culture if it wasn't because of black and indigenous people. Y'all want to be fucking European so motherfucking bad, and you think that shit's cute, you think that shit's funny. Every time your moms walk around purposely dyeing their hair blonde because they want to look paler. They want to look white. One of the things that used to piss me off was hearing someone straight up call the people in my family with curly hair pelo malo. I fucking hate that bullshit. Those motherfuckers that you want to ride so fucking hard for wouldn't fucking piss on you if you were on fire. Y'all love to act like you're above black people. Y'all love to act like you're above indigenous people. You love to act like you're superior. You ain't shit. And you're a disgrace to your ancestry. Give a fuck what anybody says. That's how I feel about it. And that's how the rest of you motherfuckers should feel about it. And if anybody's got a problem with it, it's because you're one of them. You're one of the motherfuckers I'm talking to. Take that shit up the ass. I don't care. That is the most annoying bullshit I've ever experienced as someone who grew up around hella Latinos. Like, I'm so fucking tired of one bad experience you had with a group of black people when you were a child fucking dictating how you see the rest of them. That's exactly what white people do with us. Our fucking struggles have always been intertwined, and every time that you believe that somehow you're above them, you push us back more. This is exactly why all this shit is happening. This is exactly why they're getting away with it. Your fucking papers didn't help you. Your fucking papers doesn't change the fact that they're saying that they can pull you off the street because of the color of your skin. I hate to tell you this. You may be white passing, but you ain't white. Not the way they see it. You need to get your head out of your fucking ass and see.
So today, right, October 2nd, 2024, I had a very interesting conversation with a very sweet lady. So this very sweet lady, Latina woman, who has a grandson. And she always checks in with me to ask me how my kids are doing. And I tell them, they're doing great. Praise Yah. And I always ask her, how's your grandbaby doing? And she says, he's doing great, but he thinks he's got a little girlfriend. And I said, oh, what's that about? And I'm like, it's so important for us to tell kids at this age, just stay focused. It's normal for you to like somebody, but just stay focused. Let yourself mature, grow up, don't rush, have fun being a kid. She agreed, great, right? So then she starts to tell me she's asking him about her and, he won't really tell her. Next day she goes to pick him up from school and she sees the little girl. And she sees that the little girl's brown skin. So she says to him, oh, papito, es negrita ella. She's a little black one, right? And her grandson says to her, Mama, usted racista. Like, Mama, you're a racist? And she said it caught her off guard when he said that to her. And I looked at her and I said, wow, I'm impressed that he said that to you. And I said, it's important for our kids, our young kids especially now, to understand that you got to catch those things and it's not right. It's things that we're taught in our culture, but we got to, stand up against those things, right? Because we are a very diverse people and we are Afro descendants, right? And your country, just like the country where my family's from, we have people of all complexions and all hues, and we are all one, right? So you can see in her face that she was, kind of embarrassed, and she's like, no, I was just, kidding. I, just laughed it off and everything. And, I just said, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you, and I said, oh, okay. So then she says her grandson says to her, oh, but, well, Grandma, there's no white girls in the class, and she's really pretty, she's brown skinned, but, she's really pretty. So what I learned in that conversation, definitely, of course, is that how it's a perfect example of how racism is passed down, because you have this kid in this generation now who's aware of what racism is, right? He likes this little girl and he's aware of what racism is. And he says this to his grandmother, who he loves very much, right? But because of her response, and because he respects her and he wants to please her, he kind of backpedals a little bit and says, well, okay, she is kind of brown, but, she's really pretty. And there's really no white girls in the class for me to pick from. Right. So it's an example of how racism really is passed down from generation to generation. And still you have people in 2024 that want to tell you that racism does not exist in Latin America. That's from a bygone generation. It's not real. It's just they're just ultra sensitive. People just take things too far. They don't understand the terms that we use, and that it's all just friendly and we don't mean it a certain way. But here you have an example in 2024 of how real this is. And this is what keeps racism alive, is when you have people in your own family that you love and that you respect, that make you feel like, I'm aware that what I'm hearing and seeing is racism, but in the same token, well, I don't want to displease my mom or my grandma who I love, right? I don't want to displease her. So, you know, I don't want to say the wrong thing. And then it causes a child at that age to second guess themselves and then question themselves like, well, should I like this little girl? You know, because she is brown skinned. Maybe it is bad and I don't want to disobey my grandmother, right? This is how racism is passed down, generation to generation to generation. This is what keeps it alive. So for all the people who want to mouth off, talk to your faces blue, say that it doesn't exist, you're liars. Because this is still happening right now, today, in 2024. And it's not until more of us speak out about it, call it out in real time, that we won't see a change. And if you have to make somebody feel uncomfortable in the moment by doing that or make them feel self-conscious, so be it, you know. And you would hope that they take that as a lesson and that they examine themselves. And if they don't, well, then I guess they won't be talking to you anymore. I guess she took it well because I saw her again and she still asked me how my day was. But amen. Just wanted to share that. Have a great day. Y'all be blessed.
Mexican Americans, what the fuck is this? Y'all say y'all not racist. Y'all know your history. You know, you're not white, right? You're not trying to be white. But then you go and come under my shit. This Mexican American, you know, not the Afro Mexicans or the Afro Latinos, but the other types of Mexicans. You come under my shit and then spew that very same racist, white supremacist rhetoric and insults that white people use. You say you're not white. You say you're not white, but yet you do the same fucking thing. And then you don't know your history. You say, oh, y'all have culture and black people, we have slavery. So you're just going to sit here and ignore the millions of Afro-Mexicans that exist. And you ignore your own ancestors who were brutalized and enslaved by the Spanish. This is the type of internalized colonialism that is in the Mexican community. Y'all will sit here and say, oh, we know we're not white. We have culture. We know this. But then you go and spew the same anti-black. This motherfucker called me a boy. I mean, you're Mexican. You're a fucking Mexican. You think they respect you? You think they respect you? Sorry to break it to you. They don't. They don't. They utilize you just like they utilize the coons in my community. They utilize your dumb ass. They use you. That's it. But this is what we have out here. We have Mexicans that, I'm not white. We know we're not white, but yet we'll use the same anti-black racist rhetoric towards black people. Talking about, we have culture, y'all have slavery. Just ignoring the fact that black Americans literally created modern global culture, music, and style. What are we talking about? These fucking Mexican Americans, they're so uneducated. They're so uneducated. You can't sit here and say, oh, we're not white. We're not trying to be white, while literally being a mouthpiece for their racism. Get your life together. Get your fucking life together. Y'all are fucking stupid. You're uneducated. You don't know history. You don't know your history. You don't know any history. You just believe what the white man said. Whatever the white man puts out, you believe it. You take it in.
Guys, this shouldn't be an uproar, but nobody should experience racism. Nobody should be discriminated against or have fear for their life because of the color of their skin, okay? And just because some people in certain groups are racist to other people does not give you the right to turn around and be racist. You don't combat racism with racism. And when you say, hey, I noticed that in my community we have colorism, racism, and anti-blackness, and we need to dismantle that, that's not putting down your community. There are racist individuals in every single ethnicity, race, group, culture. And if we keep going with the, oh, well, this Latino person was racist to me whenever I was younger, so all Latinos are racist. No, we're not. If you're like, oh, well, this black person was really mean to me whenever I was younger, so all black people hate Latinos and other people. No, they do not. Every group of people has prejudice and stereotypes thrown around about all the other groups of people. It's taking the time to educate yourself and being like, that's wrong. I'm not going to spread that rhetoric. There are absolutely beautiful things about every culture, and then there are not so great things. And it's up to us as people to be like, hey, the things that aren't so great, let's do better. so that our children, our children's children, and so on can have a better world. Like, we should be working towards a safe, all-inclusive, loving society that doesn't have racism and everybody has equal chances and everything. Not fighting for the right to be racist to other people because some people said racist things. Like, that's not how that works.
So why don't Latinos like black people? I'ma tell you. It's because of our stupid ass Spanish ancestors and their white supremacist bullshit. Now when the Spaniards came to the Americas to, colonize, they brought with them something known as casta, a caste system. Here's a historical painting showing the caste system and where people were put into their places. If this is confusing, this will make it a little easier. Now the top of the casta was the Spaniards, people who actually came from Spain. And the people who usually came from Spain to the Americas were very wealthy aristocrats. Next in the food chain were their descendants, the Creoles. Now they were still Spaniards, but they were lower on the food chain because they were born in the Americas. Because again, white supremacist bullshit. Next in the food chain we have mestizos. These are people descended from Spaniards and Native Americans. And then we have mulattos, descended from Spaniards and Africans. Now at the bottom of the food chain were Native Americans and African slaves. Because again, white supremacist bullshit. Now this social structure, these social classes were instituted for centuries in Latin America. But here's where the problem lies. Humans like to fuck each other, whether willingly and with consent or sadly by rape. That means they have babies together. So this social structure doesn't really work when you have a lot of mixed babies. Because basically everyone became mestizo and mulatto together. Everyone just mixed. So what happens when everyone is mixed? Basically this middle section disappeared and colorism seeped into our cultures very deeply. So Latinos who were more light-skinned were seen as being higher in the social structure because they were more like Spaniards. And dark-skinned Afro-Latinos were seen to be lower in the social structure because they were more like Africans. Which again, is stupid white supremacist bullshit. Because most Latinos are this middle section, like me, mestizo. So why are many Latinos prejudiced against Afro-Latinos and black people? Because our racist-ass colonizing ancestors taught this to us centuries ago. And it's so ingrained into our culture that it's hard to unlearn it. But we need to start putting in the work and start unlearning this white supremacist bullshit. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
This is all I got from this video. And one thing I know for sure is that Latinos, nobody can help you, sincerely speaking. If you want to be white so bad, that is your problem, not my problem. Because, so you guys experienced Jim Crow, right? And your history. And sincerely speaking, I feel like literally almost everybody's history somehow is intertwined or like connected to Black American history because it's American history, right? And majority of you actually know what you're doing. Some of you guys do not even want to have anything. You would rather, some people will say, I would rather die being a poor man. Like that. I'm just trying to make you understand what I am saying. I would rather die being a poor man than stealing. Somehow, now let me connect it to some of them will rather die associating themselves with this than standing up for the truth. That is what I am trying to say, right? Like, it's kind of really weird that we are still here today trying to tell you or trying to, because I don't know if we are trying to convince them, but how can you convince somebody on the truth? On the truth that they are even saying, because if they are not saying it, it will be a different thing. They are saying that this is actually true and that we are supposed to retrace our steps and all that. But it doesn't work like that for them. It doesn't work like that for them. Like, at what time would you all say enough is enough? At what time? Because if you continue like this, I don't know where it will get you guys. Really. I don't know where it will get you guys. Because you guys will continue running. You know when you run in circle, you continue running in circle without any tangible something to prove for what you have done. Or what you have, something like that. Nothing. No tangible something. Literally everything that is happening so far since after election, Black people told you guys this. It's not like you were not told. You guys were told. You know about it. But you all decided that no, we are not going to do better for ourselves. We are going to do anything that we can do to be on the other side of history. You know, but okay, this thing that is in my mouth, I think I'm just going to shut up. But how long do you want to continue tap dancing? Because you can see that what you are tap dancing for is not yielding fruit. You know, it's just like playing a game, and you find out that the game you've been playing for so long and you are not making money with that game. Are you not supposed to re-strategize and know how to do this to get better result? I don't know if you understand what I am saying, but yeah, who am I to even tell you guys what to do and what not to do? But I think it's very disgraceful that people will still have to tell you guys on what to do and what not to do. You are supposed to use your sense because you have your sense. Use that God's given sense that is free and figure out your life. Put yourselves together. Put your shit together and work for your own good. If not, you guys will continue crying for as long as it's gonna last. I will draw the curtain here. Bye for now.